To answer the question of how we can keep eroticism alive in our relationships, let's delve deep into why it dissipates in the first place. Love creates closeness. Desire needs distance. And that eroticism is going to come out of desire. Love is having, desire is wanting. So, again, another question that Esther Perel highlights is, can we want what we already have? When I first get to know you, mystery is embedded in all of our interactions because I don't know you when I don't know you. Everything about you is foreign to me. Everything about you it's mystery. People forget that fire needs air. That desire is going to need some distance, okay? The problem is how our individuality starts to wane. Case in point, John and Beatrice. So John and Beatrice have excellent communication. He says she's beautiful, she's smart, and she's intelligent. But why aren't they having sex? Because more intimacy equals less sex. To give you a snapshot of what this looks like, they're together and Beatrice is so afraid to lose John that she is foregoing hanging out with her friends. She foregoes getting to know herself more, and whatever John knows about himself, she meshes that within herself. So if John likes to go eat pizza, if John's favorite food is pizza, now her favorite food is pizza. If John's favorite thing to do is go for a hike, her favorite thing to do is go for a hike, even though essentially it's not. Desire, eroticism, needs something to desire. It needs an other. And so when you get so close and entrenched in another person's life, it's more so like becoming one person rather than it is two separate beings choosing to be with one another and wanting one another and pining and desiring each other. But all is not lost, okay? What Esther recommended to this couple, prescribed to this couple, because she's a doctor now. She's a therapist. What Esther prescribed to this couple is, hey, Beatrice, move out. She says, move out, hang out with your friends, remember who you are, essentially, remember who you are. Beatrice does that. She moves out. She applies for her PhD. She's hanging out with her friends. And now John is seeing that she can stand on her own 2 feet. And because of that, it attracts him to her. Because of that, it makes him more sexually inclined towards her. Because of that, their relationship is going on an upward instead of a downward because of the lack of any type of mystery. Now when I call you, I can say, hey babe, what's going on with that PhD? Hey babe, what happened with your friends when you went here or when you went there? Just asking these little things that I wouldn't have known before because you've been following me around and because there's nothing to know about you because you're around me. When Beatrice forgoes her individuality, she forgoes the connection in her relationship. Separateness is what creates the connectedness. Separateness encourages connectedness. We have to remember that we are individuals and we must stand on our own 2 feet. So that's one way that we can keep the eroticism alive in our relationships, right? By staying yourself. If you think about it, when you first met them, you were yourself. When you first met them, you were doing your own thing. When you get with them, you continue to do your own thing, and let's just see how it pans out. More intimacy equals less sex. And what's interesting about that is Dr. Patricia Love has a book where she says that communication creates that intimacy and that begets a sexual experience. Not all the time, because why is it different for John and Beatrice? Why is it different for even some of you? Some of you might have that good relationship with someone, but something is missing. That hot, fiery sex. Why is it missing? Why can't I get that hot, fiery sex in my relationship? Moving on. Love wants to know everything. So that's just another thing that we can remember. Thinking about eroticism. When you cultivate, just to put everything that we talked about in a sentence, you cultivate your own personal intimacy outside of this relationship. You give your partner an other to desire. Good? Okay. The next section, pitfalls of modern intimacy. Why is it called modern intimacy? Like, what is modern intimacy? Why are we calling it that? There's different ways to touch people. You don't answer a text message, and then you get a DM on Instagram from that person, a DM on Twitter, reply on Facebook. Eventually, you're like, okay, let me go ahead and interact with this person. A connection with technology in the middle, that's not real intimacy. Real intimacy isn't being created that way. In this generation, intimacy has been redefined as talking. And there is a such thing as talk intimacy, but talk intimacy is a disadvantage to men who speak more so with their bodies. They're more apt toward body language. And for women who speak with their bodies have always been called names. Anything that's been degrading towards women is what we call women that speak with their bodies, that are more sexual, that are more in tune with their energy. So let's try to prioritize body language in a time where technology and talk is so widely important. And then let's talk about why talk has been redefined as intimacy. It's because in the wake of women's rights, okay? Now we getting into it, okay? In the wake of women's rights, first, women weren't allowed to divorce men. They weren't allowed to want more than what they already had. We weren't allowed to say, I don't just want to clean up and have sex and make babies. I want to have intimacy. I want to have love. I want to have something more. Maybe that fire and desire, maybe eroticism. And because women had limited accesses to power, there was a prioritizing of relationship building, okay? So now that, and women were having to use relationships to, maneuver around society. So with that power that they didn't really have access to being supplemented with relationships, now men were starting to gravitate towards relationships now and talking, because that's what women had to do during that time. They were trying to relate better to women so that they can either keep their marriages or even get a wife to begin with. And again, men are more apt towards body language, and women need to start using bodies more for language. What feeling more, with your bodies, using your bodies to speak. I mean, our mother tongue is body language. So we went through two things so far to keep that intimacy, that hot sex, and that hot sex on a platter in your relationships, okay? So first, what you want to do is you want to create that distance, okay? Create a self outside of your relationship for your partner to desire, something that they don't know all about, that they have to ask you about, that they have to be curious about. So you keep some things to yourself. Another thing is, don't redefine intimacy. Speak with your bodies more. Stop using so much technology just to get in contact with people, just to try and touch people. Really get in their face and say something. Really get in their presence. Set up dates. Why aren't we dating anymore? Set up a real date. Go and see them. Go and see about that. We'll see what's going on. You know, really, really be in their face. Really find another way to touch somebody, like with your hands, not with your phone. See what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? So, with that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up. Let me know if you like this. If you like it, I'll keep making more of these. Maybe I'll keep making more of them just because I like them. Please, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Okay? This is Dej, and I'm signing out.